What's going on, guys? Long time no see. As a lot of you guys know, I've been helping out Coach at A&T. I've been watching a lot. I mean, a freaking lot of film, okay? I've been watching the guys that we're playing against. I've been watching the guys that we're playing against, who they played against. I've been scouting. I've been recruiting. I've been doing it all, okay? So in that, I've seen so much of what guys are doing wrong. So I'm gonna just run through the 5 things that almost every single new punter, relatively older punter, is doing wrong, and I'm gonna help you get them right and give you some tips on how to fix one of these 5 things, all right? You might have to only fix one. You might end up fixing all 5 and be like, dang, I just do all of them wrong. Doesn't mean you're bad. I just want to help you out. Okay, number 1, first thing so many guys do wrong is they don't walk in a straight line, okay? Let's assume I'm trying to kick towards the camera, all right? I see these guys catch a snap, and the first thing they do is they drop this shoulder, then they take a step here, boom, and then they pull this left foot around and try to swing back towards the camera, if that's my line. First off, now my swing path is coming here, so my ball has a very hard time of going this way. It's either gonna go here and might hook back in, or it's gonna go way off to the side. And the problem is, why a lot of guys don't fix it, is you can hit a pretty good ball doing this. In fact, on my rover punt, where I like to walk right and punt left, I'm gonna do this exact thing. Of course, it's more intentional, and I'm leaning into the swing across to really fake out returners to pull them all the way to the other side of the field with a nice, low driven ball. But if you're not trying to do that, then you should probably learn the right way to punt. And the first thing to fix this is take this step, right foot, a little shorter, and really emphasize stepping directly towards your target, okay? That's gonna help a lot. Second, when you're taking your left foot step, try to make sure that it's long enough you can get a little bit of momentum, but not so long that you're gonna open your hips up, otherwise we're gonna swing back across. These 2 things right there are gonna help you in your process of swinging straighter. 100%, it's the biggest obstacle any kicker or punter is gonna have to overcome is their swing, but those 2 things of keeping your feet shorter and focusing on just keeping your hips square to your path, striking the ball low are gonna be the number 1 and number 2 things to help out. And it's gonna turn you from walking this way and swinging and not where it's going to just being able to hit a very precise ball. Oh, not like that though. And just hitting pure dingers every single time. But the second thing that I've seen so many guys do is it comes to their drop height and angle. One of these 2 things is always gonna be wrong. You're either gonna be dropping up here, down here, or you're trying to hold the ball perfectly straight, or you're holding it like this. Don't even get me started on guys' hand positions. I hate when guys hold the ball like this, but if you can drop it kind of smooth, I'm not gonna say much to you about it, as long as the angle and the height are right, okay? Height, ideally, you wanna be between like belly button to middle of your ribs. That's the best spot to be. You're gonna have a good chance of hitting that ball. When it's too low, you're gonna have to swipe to get around to it. And when it's too high, obviously it's just like, there's so much time for that ball to fall. Even with good punters, that ball's gonna move from up here. So we're just limiting the amount of damage we can do by keeping it lower. And then finally, for the angle, so many guys wanna drop it like straight or completely turned. No, just 11:30, subtle. Subtle angles are gonna be the best thing that you want, and you want it to line up against your foot right about so, right? Once you're hitting the ball like that, you should feel pretty good about it. So no more straight drops. Instead, we're holding our drop like this. All right, which brings me to number 3. Once you start swinging at the ball, so many guys leave their plant foot in general, and you don't need to. Hear me out. Now, I'm a guy, I like to get a little skip through, blink when I kick, right? I like it, it makes me feel powerful, and I'm really driving through this plant leg. However, I understand what my plant is doing for my swing, so I'm using it to generate more power. So many guys completely ruin their own base while they're kicking by trying to leave this plant foot, and they're just lunging downfield. They're not getting any sort of explosion out of this leg, and you're losing it. I think almost every punter, starting off, should work keeping this heel, keeping this leg in the ground when you swing. So for starters, this is where your power comes from. So you can just use a nice, light, easy tap. And with my plant in the ground, I can get something like this. You might say to yourself, Isaac, I know you can hit that ball with your plant foot staying in the ground, but you're the pinnacle of masculinity, and you're the pinnacle of power, of handsomeness. And thank you for that, but unfortunately that's not always the case. I'm not like the world's strongest punter. There's plenty of punters way stronger than I am, and I promise you the power that I put into that was not something that the average high schooler couldn't generate. That was just a very form-focused kick, and of course it's just gonna get me a nice 48. I was probably like a 4.4 second hang time punt, you know, good direction on my line, just because of good fundamentals, and I'm properly using that plant. So if you feel like you're not getting the power you feel like you should, if you lift a lot and you're not getting a lot of power, keep your plant in the freaking ground, okay? Keep it in the ground, stop skipping out of it. It's gonna do wonders for you in the long run. And then once you learn how to use it, you can finally jump off of it and use that power to hit a bigger ball. All right, number 4. I had these all written down somewhere. Wait, what was number 4? Drop, plant. All right, number 4 is one of the most important. I mean, they're all important. Any single one of these, if you sit back and you try to perfect it, is gonna make you a better punter. None of these that you practice are gonna make you worse, all right? Getting your drop right, line right, swing proper. This one is huge, overlooked, nobody talks about it. It's eyes. What are you looking at the ball, okay? The ball is the most important thing. The most important thing in football. They literally named the sport after it, okay? And for punters, it's so important because we have to make sure that we're looking at it to hit the right part. Now for me, depending on where I drop it, my eyes are kind of here in this area. I know a lot of pro guys look sort of at the nozzle, they'll hold the nozzle up here and just keep their eyes right on that bladder. But me personally, I kind of look more towards this general spot right there. So 1, 2, 3, 3.5, 4 laces down. And all I'm thinking about is just trying to get my foot to match up with the ball so it looks how I know it should look. So now we're going here and hitting a bunch of punts like this, okay? And once you start doing that, you're gonna start hitting really easy spirals. So all I gotta do is hold it, keep my eyes right there, nice easy swing, and I can spiral that ball with my foot every single time. And you're probably like, wow, Isaac, that looked really easy. It is, punting is easy. It's really easy when you know what you're doing. And respectfully, a lot of you just don't, is that mean to say? A lot of people don't know what they're doing. A lot of coaches don't know what they're doing. Simplify it. That's why I'm giving you these 5 things, to make it simple for you. So we're gonna get these and then we're gonna talk about the last thing, okay? All right, so for the 5th and final thing, this one just ties it all together. So we've already talked about line, all that other stuff. Now we're just gonna talk about tempo, okay? Because this is super important, and that's that your walking tempo, your stepping tempo, your running tempo, has to match your kicking tempo. So whatever tempo you're thinking of, right? If you're thinking, oh, I'm stepping at 20%, you better be kicking at 20% because it's gonna make you a better kick. If you're thinking I'm stepping at 60%, you better only be kicking at 60%. A lot of guys get in a lot of trouble because they step really slow, they step really timid, trying to be controlled, and then try to swing their freaking hearts out, okay? And then what ends up happening is you get this weird thing where you cross about because your leg doesn't have enough natural momentum with your body to really utilize it. So we swing, we don't hit a good contact. Everything is just all out of whack because our stepping tempo didn't match the kicking tempo. So this one's the hardest one to visualize, but imagine here, right? If I'm gonna step at 20%, so I'm gonna go 1, 2. I gotta make sure that my swing is slow, connects to the same spot, so that way it can all match up. For instance, here's a nice little 20%, 40%. Everything connects. And that's how we get this, wow, you look like you're barely trying type effect, is because we're using our natural momentum. Now, if I step slow like that and then try to muscle that ball as fast as I can, I promise you it doesn't look like that. I promise you, you no longer think I'm the world's most handsome punter. Maybe handsome, but definitely not the best, most handsome punter. And that's where we're trying to be. So now, going to another one, once I want to up it to about 60%, I can't use that same swing I had before. So now we have to increase the speed a little. Now we get a bigger ball, better hang time, about 5 yards better distance. It should scale like that as you go up with speed, and you shouldn't feel like you're swinging that much harder to get the results that you're getting. So we're gonna hit the last 2, tying everything together, all right? It starts with our line, then it goes to our drop, then it goes to our swing, our eyes, and then finally we tie it in with tempo. When we do all of that stuff, if you have all 5 of those things mastered, where you're just doing them really, really well, you're not gonna be a bad punter. I don't know what to tell you, but you're not gonna be a bad punter. So here we go. Nice little 80%er. I'm gonna try to bring my drop in. Let's try to smoke this one, huh? Not bad. So then with this last ball, all I'm gonna say is thanks for coming. The secret 6th thing you gotta do well is make sure you're subscribed, all right? If you're subscribed, you're already a great punter in my opinion. So last one to end on, and then I'll look forward to seeing you guys. I'm gonna be posting more soon. The season's ending. Peace.